Hola, hermanos y hermanas. My name is David Huerta, and I'm proud to represent 750,000 workers as president of SEIU California, and among those, more than 50,000 janitors, airport workers, security officers, and stadium and event workers. I want to thank Texas AFL-CIO President Leonard Aguilar, Secretary Treasurer Lorraine Montemayor, and your 250,000 members for inviting me to speak at your convention. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. The winter storm threw a wrench in my travel plans, but I hope you and your communities are staying safe. I want to share with you my story because I know it's not much different from a lot of yours. One half of my family has lived in California for so long that the border crossed us. The other half immigrated from Zacatecas to work the fields of Imperial Valley. And I'm a proud second generation Chicano born and raised in Los Angeles County. Growing up, my father was a teamster. While working the freight yards, he taught my brother and I the dignity of work. It's because of his example that I am a labor organizer and advocate for the workers that I am today. Not only was my father a teamster, he was a combat veteran. My uncle served, my brother served, my cousins all served this country to defend our Constitution. And what the Trump administration and MAGA are doing to our country is a betrayal to my family's services. From California to Texas, our hard work and sacrifice for our families seeking a better life and building our country is a common story that we can all be proud of. It's a shame and a disgrace that from Los Angeles to DC to Minneapolis to here in Texas, we are witnessing the deliberate and escalating campaign of fear that targets our entire community. Renee Nicole Good has been murdered. Alex Preddy has been murdered. Keith Porter has been murdered. That's in addition to many other lives that have been cut short. The cruelty and the attempts to normalize this cruelty is the point. It's not an accident that they kidnapped a 5-year-old, Liam Cornejo Rojas, and a 2-year-old, Chloe Renata Tepan Biasis, in Minneapolis just this week. Make no mistake, these are not isolated incidents. Attacks on immigrants and working people didn't begin in January 2025. They didn't begin in Trump's first term. The campaign of exploiting workers is simply taken a new form. Trump's weaponization of the judicial system is part of a broader strategy to silence dissent, criminalize resistance, and erode the foundations of our democracy. I know because this past summer I was tackled to the ground, pepper sprayed in the face, and detained for exercising my constitutional rights for standing up against an authoritarian administration that has declared open warfare on working families, immigrants, and basic human dignity. The baseless charges brought against me are not just about me. They are meant to intimidate anyone who dares to speak out, organize, or demand justice. But I will not be silenced. And you prove that you won't be silenced either. When I was detained, you rallied in San Antonio, in Dallas, in Houston, in Austin, and so many other cities. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You demonstrated that when we chant, an injury to one is an injury to all, those are not just words. They mean something. You showed that solidarity isn't just a word, it's an action. And right now, our communities and our country need a whole lot of solidarity. Across this country, families are being separated. People are being taken from their homes and neighborhoods by masked agents. They are being harassed at work, intimidated in schools, and detained without due process. This is not public safety. This is state repression. If the goal was to instill fear, it has failed because we are not afraid. We recently commemorated the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a leader who walked unafraid, fighting for dignity and our shared humanity. He wrote to Cesar Chavez, a man who was equally unafraid and committed to organizing farm workers who many deemed unworthy of a union. Dr. King wrote, "As brothers in the fight for equality, I extend the hand of fellowship and goodwill and wish continuing success to you and your members. The fight for equality must be fought on many fronts, in the urban slums, in the sweatshops of the factories and fields. Our separate struggles are really one, a struggle for freedom, for dignity, and for humanity." What Dr. King wrote so eloquently was a reaffirmation of his solidarity with the United Farm Workers at a time when corporations and the politicians they bankrolled were pitting workers against each other along racial lines. Billionaires continue this pattern of abuse to exploit and divide us by destroying our social safety net, buying political power, and trying to deepen racial divides. In California, we lived through an era of deep division and fear directed at immigrants, which resulted in the passage of the 1994 ballot initiative called Proposition 187. Proposition 187 made it a crime for immigrants to access public services like healthcare, schools, and even public transportation. It was a bigoted attempt to deny immigrants dignity and humanity. Here's the sobering truth. That blatantly racist proposition passed. It passed, but the courts struck it down. But our victory came in the form of organizing and mobilizing communities. Prop 187 activated the Latino community to realize our power. People young and old marched and organized to defend our communities. We organized our vote, flexed our power at the ballot box, changing California to what it is today. Now that fight is not just for our communities. It's our very democracy. And Texas, you are at the center of that fight. You can stand shoulder to shoulder with all working people in solidarity across difference, because we are stronger not in spite of our differences, but because of them. You can determine our country's future by taking a stand against the politics of division, fear, and hate. And I firmly believe that the workers that are being targeted by this administration are the very workers that will be the heroes who save our democracy. Organized labor. It is a moment we must realize our power and stand united to lead the resistance against this authoritarian regime and secure a future rooted in solidarity and dignity for all workers. So let's go get it. Gracias, Texas.